questions for you. One, were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department?
I didn't know about it at all. No, I read about it just like you did.
And do you believe that she is?
It's not a very uncommon thing.
There are a few things, though, that are unusual. Experts tell us that Ghislaine Maxwell would have been required to get a special waiver to be transferred to what is called and known as Club Fed. And it is certainly not every day that the number 2 person in charge at the Justice Department conducts an interview like this himself.
The sense is that there's not any other sex offenders in a low security prison like hers, like of any type.
Go ahead and add Trump's answer to a question about Ghislaine Maxwell's unusual transfer to the endless list of bizarre and frankly damning responses from the president regarding both Epstein and convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell. Put it up there next to, quote, "I wish her well."
Mr. President, the other day a reporter asked you about Ghislaine Maxwell. You said, quote, "I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
First of all, I don't know that, but I do know that.
She has. She's been arrested for that. You know that.
Her friend or boyfriend,
Epstein,
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. I mean, do you know that?
Oh, so you're saying you hope she doesn't die in jail? Is that what you mean by wish her well?
Her boyfriend died in jail, and people are still trying to figure out, how did it happen? Was it suicide? Was he killed? And I do wish her well. I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody. And they took that and
she's a child sex, alleged child sex trafficker.
Big deal. But all it is her boyfriend died. He died in jail. Was he killed? Was it suicide? I do. I wish her well.
CNN host Kaitlan Collins directly asked President Trump if he was aware of Maxwell's prison transfer to a lower security prison, and if he, quote, personally approved it, to which Trump claimed that he didn't know before going on to elaborate, saying it's not very uncommon, except for the minor fact that, yeah, it is.
2 questions for you. One, were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department?
I didn't know about it at all. No, I read about it just like you did.
And do you believe that she is?
It's not a very uncommon thing.
Do you believe that she's credible to be listening to? Your Deputy Attorney General sat down with her recently.
Well, let me tell you, he's a very talented man. His name is Todd Blanche. He's a very legitimate person, very high, I just a very highly thought of person, respected by everybody. And I didn't talk to him about it, but I will tell you that whatever he asked would be totally appropriate, and it's not an uncommon thing to do that. And I think he probably wants to make sure that, people that should not be involved or aren't involved are not hurt by something that would be very, very unfortunate, very unfair to a lot of people. But I will say this, Todd Blanche is one of the most highly respected people you'll ever meet. So I know this. I didn't discuss it with him, but anything he talked about with her or the fact that he did that, not unusual, number one, and most importantly is something that would be totally above board.
There are a few things, though, that are unusual. Experts tell us that Ghislaine Maxwell would have been required to get a special waiver to be transferred to what is called and known as Club Fed. And it is certainly not every day that the number 2 person in charge at the Justice Department conducts an interview like this himself. All of this is coming as CNN has learned the Trump administration is considering releasing a transcript of that interview between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell, which lasted for about 9 hours over 2 days. And this new reporting tonight comes as Maxwell herself is moving to stop the president's go-to move in an attempt to calm the outrage among his supporters.
But this becomes all the more relevant when you consider the news today. It was announced that Trump is considering publicly releasing the transcripts from the interview Maxwell had with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Notably, after sources familiar with her claim that Ghislaine Maxwell said nothing during the interview that would be harmful to the president, telling Blanche that Trump had never done anything in her presence that would have caused concern. Which, after listening to Trump say this yesterday while claiming he had no idea this was going on, I'll just forgo my opinion on whether he knew about the transfer whatsoever.
And I think he probably wants to make sure that, people that should not be involved or aren't involved are not hurt by something that would be very, very unfortunate.
See, after years in a federal prison in Tallahassee, Florida, Maxwell was moved to a minimum security federal prison in Bryan, Texas, just days after meeting with Todd Blanche. Now, the prison camp has been dubbed, quote, Club Fed. It includes a full gym, yoga classes, and even a puppy program.
On the Ghislaine Maxwell thing, just really quick, yes, she was participating in the child rape, essentially. She also was essentially the ringleader of an effort to groom dozens, maybe hundreds of kids, of young girls, into essentially sex slavery. Right? Like her job was she would go recruit 14 to 17-year-old girls, also some older young women. She would recruit these girls and have them come over to the house, sometimes participate in the sex, sometimes tell them what Jeffrey liked, and then would hold money over them, would hold threats over them to keep them in, his clutches, I'm sorry to use such a gross term, for a period of time. What she did was monstrous. And so, going back to what you and Glenn were talking about, I've also talked to folks, I don't have this 100% on sources, but the sense is that there's not any other sex offenders in a low security prison like hers, of any type. So, not that, you want to rank the different types of sex crimes, but Ghislaine's is about the worst. It's about as bad as you can do. Recruiting dozens of girls into, a quasi-sex slavery. What is worse than that? And she's the only one with any sex crimes that gets this kind of treatment. Something is amiss there. It's not like an accident. It's not like, it's a coinky dink that Todd Blanche went down there and 3 days later she has the best treatment of any sex offender in the entire federal prison system. There's a deal that has happened there. So why are they willing to do that? Back to your original question, I don't know. I do. This is the other fact that we know that we can just say, which is they have a file of the times that Trump was mentioned in the Epstein files, and they've admitted to it. They said that they had FBI officials that were looking through. They had a Microsoft SharePoint file. They flagged every time Trump was named. So if it's not that bad, and whatever is in there is better than the perception of putting Ghislaine in this prison, then they could just put that out, and they haven't.
According to CNN analysis, the transfer itself would have required a special waiver due to the severity of the 63-year-old's crimes. And it's not just Kaitlan Collins that called it into question, right? Sentiment was echoed by the former Bureau of Prisons Chief of Internal Affairs, who labeled Maxwell's transfer to ABC News a, quote, travesty of justice. All of which goes to point out that it's far from common.
7 years from the time that you learned that people were being stolen from Mar-a-Lago to the time that you took Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I don't understand your question.
It's interesting to hear the right explain why it is that they want to hear. I want to hear because clearly you got something to hide, Mr. President. So that's why I want to hear. I want the swamp, right, to be drained, okay? Listen, let me use their language. We know that he had this ongoing relationship with Epstein. They were basically like besties. We know that there are allegations that a lot of the recruitment took place down at Mar-a-Lago. We know that there are even young ladies that said that they were sexually abused and or sexually assaulted. We know that this is someone who has been found liable of sexual abuse by a jury of his peers. So, this is also a guy who seemingly doesn't really, necessarily care if somebody engages in these types of activities. So I know he's got something to hide. That's the only reason it's not out there. If this had anything to do with Democrats, baby, it would have been on day one. That promise would have been fulfilled. But he wanted access to those files and he wanted to see how bad it looked for him. And unfortunately, after having a glimpse, I think he's decided that he just wants to move on and talk about something else.
In fact, it's so uncommon and being called out as such by those in the media that, according to sources close to the White House, Vice President J.D. Vance is said to host senior Trump administration officials at his house to discuss Blanche's interview with Maxwell, with, all of the former Epstein truth seekers to attend: Kash Patel, Susie Wiles, and of course, Attorney General Pam Bondi.
I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. They're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
You know, Mark, with CNN reporting that the aim of this impromptu meeting is to craft a, quote, unified response, or, you know, perhaps come up with new elaborate ways to distract the public eye. Hey, have you thought of sending the president to the roof?
On the roof of the White House, he's taking questions, or he was just a few moments ago. Let's listen in, please.
Looking good, Peter. Are you going to pull up here? Something beautiful. What does that mean? What do you? More ways to spend my money. Can you give us another thing? We'll show you. It's just another way to spend my money for the country. Are you considering your plan, or? Anything I do is financed by me, so you're not worried. It's contributed. Just like my salary is contributed, but nobody ever mentions that. Are you going to add another level?
Oh, already did that, sorry. All right, well, I guess all ideas are welcome now.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.MeidasTouch.com. All 100% USA union made.